Vanakkam and Salam Sejahtera. Welcome to episode 2 of Dialogue National. I'm Fadli and
I'm Vignesh.
today we're truly excited because we have a very special guest. With us, the host of Yamcha session, MC Black and Mr. Andrew.
Yo!
They have interviewed leaders like Tun Mahathir, YB Syed Saddiq, and also international Singapore politicians. So today's interview will be very excited. And we will explore politics through them. That's our motive of today's questions.
So I guess I'll go straight with the questions. Yeah? Okay.
Let's go. Straight to the point, yeah?
Yeah. We don't mess around here at Dialogue National. Okay. Proceed. So my first question to you is, what first motivated you guys to start the Yamcha session? And did you expect to be a very awesome platform for you guys?
We expected nothing, right?
Amen.
Yeah, serious. Yes. We expected nothing, like literally, and then somehow it just grew. But the expectation grew a little bit, but it didn't grow so high because we initially planned to do it for the love of talking, and that main goal still stays. Of course, here and there are, because as we grow older, we have more responsibilities and everything, but we still try our very much best to continue the sessions. So our expectation was nothing.
Yeah. I think at least for me, so we started this completely by chance, by accident. We did it for fun. I still, at least from a personal level, do it for fun, as an excuse to meet new people, hear different perspectives. That's all like I see the purpose of this podcast for. Also obviously gives the guests an avenue to speak their thoughts and their opinions. But on a selfish perspective, I just want to meet new people. And as you get older, it's not an easy thing to do, surprisingly, to have an excuse to sit down and have a 2-3 hour conversation with someone. It's not something very accessible to the normal person. If I come and ask you, hey bro, you want to have some coffee with me for 3 hours, you're going to think I'm going to sell you insurance.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed.
The moment I whip out my iPad, that's it, really, bro.
Agree. You asked me itself also 2-3 hours. I expected
Exactly.
Insurance.
Yeah. Correct. Confirm insurance. Look, you asked me, I just think it's insurance, bro. Yeah. That's why, it's the perfect excuse to have this long, engaging conversation with someone. You hear different thoughts and opinions that you may not have thought of in the first place. Yeah.
Okay. So going to the second question, you've interviewed so many big names, right? For now, hoping more to come, of course. How has that shaped how you see politics itself nowadays?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. Even though we should be prepared. The thing about
It's okay.
Exactly, right? Yes.
Santai.
For me, after talking to all these people that we have interviewed before, right, my interest for politics became more in depth. Like previously, I didn't really care much about it. I would say we should as Malaysians. It's just that we don't, and I think this extends to most of Malaysians out there. They only care when it affects them, but if it doesn't affect them, then they just move on with their life. So once you get to talk to this certain bunch of individuals like Syed Saddiq, Henayo, Tun M as well, then you get to understand a few things, and then you want to know more. And then when things happen in Malaysia, you see the news, then you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Then you start to care more, And of course, the change doesn't come from one person as well, but it starts from you. You got to do it, If everyone say, I don't want to do it, then everyone is like a bazillion people, So that's where, at least it gave me the interest to care more and try to be better after talking with a bunch of people. And of course, we hope that you guys can also be the same. Like, no, you don't have to give 100% in knowing more about politics or what's going on in Malaysia, but give some thoughts for it. It will really make a difference, I would say. I'm not sure about Drew.
Yeah. Funny enough, I think for me, after meeting these heavy-hitting politicians, I have more questions than I did before. They've shared a lot of different perspectives on what happens behind the scenes. As a regular rakyat, you are just you see on Free Malaysia Today, whatever is on Instagram, right? And that's about it lah. Whatever says.com says lah, maybe, right? Maybe if you go the extra mile, you're on Twitter and you're reading about current events. But that's the extent the normal person knows. Having spoken to these politicians, they tell us a bit more detail and context about what the country's challenges are.
Understand.
Now, these challenges obviously aren't simple. Otherwise, it would have been fixed.
Yes.
Right? So that raises even more questions that I didn't initially have before. So funny enough, I have more questions than I did before speaking to them. Yeah. So I think it's one of those things where you know a little bit more than you did previously, and that only triggers you to know how much you don't know. And that, I think, is what I feel when I speak to these folks. We often try and come in very prepared speaking to these politicians, but they almost always hit us with curveballs, and we're not
ready,
totally ready for lah. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Picking up from your answer, MC. But you see, do you think from kids nowadays are more aware of politics than last 10 years?
Kids,
Because
like, you're talking about young adults,
because
teenagers.
right now the voting age have been changed to 18. So should they be more aware towards politics?
If you say 18 years old, I would say the schools need to do more so that they are more aware of politics. Because when you're 18, you're 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all you really care about playing games, going back home, chasing guys or girls. Yes. But there is no proper channel that for them to actually care about politics. Even when you go back home, all your parents care about is how good are your grades. You know, you just don't have the interest for politics, and maybe your mind is so young that you just don't want to care about it. It's just too complex for your brain. Maybe some of them do knows, but presently, based on the people that I'm talking to, like when I work, they just didn't really care much about it, and you can't really blame them. You know, even though you want to, but you can't. You know, because if you want to care about politics, it needs to be a personal choice. Like, I need to care about it. You know, and that kind of thinking only take place as you mature more in your life. So you can't really say the things for the 18 years old. Let them grow first, and then once they have grown, once they be a good person as Malaysians, then if they want to go into politics, then yeah, sure. So that would be my answer, I would say.
But without political understanding, they will be going to vote the candidate. So should
They will probably vote based on what the parents say, I would suppose, or based on what they see in the website.
So should we implement like special co-curriculum classes in
I think
schools?
that's what he's saying. Like,
Well, I hope they do, but I also hope they do more stuff in education. Like the education in Malaysia is like, you know, yes, they need to really change our SK, give proper equipments and everything. Most of the people are right now preferring to send their kids to Chinese school simply because it's so well made. They're
well
disciplined, they're well equipped.
Equipped,
You know,
yes.
it's just great. I mean, put aside the aircon, which is also a big plus, by the way. You know, the education is so strong. The facilities is amazing. And teachers want to teach because they pay the teachers well. You know, and you can see it's incomparable. You can't compare it with our SK school.
schools,
Like,
understand.
I just drove past my first school. It was at, I can't mention that, but it's somewhere at Setapak. All right, it's still the same. It looks
very
the same.
private.
Yes, it's still the same. It looks the same. I feel like nothing has changed. The goalposts still don't have a net. You know, so what's going on? What's up, my boys? You know, so if you want to do a change, I think the government needs to do a change for this SK. Like, bro, SK is so good. I don't see what's wrong. Like, our education is great. So why you don't want to, make it better?
So I'd like to get a point of view of Andrew as well in this.
Yeah, I think so your question is whether or not youth these days are, I guess,
Aware.
politically aware, conscious enough to make an informed decision when voting. This is in comparison to, I guess, 10, 20, 30 years ago, the youth of that time. So if that's the question, I think my short answer is yes. I think my sense is they are more aware politically compared to the youth of 30 years ago. Probably a couple of reasons why. The first point, I think, is from an economical perspective. Economically today, wages have stayed stagnant relative to cost of living, right? So when economic pressures hit people, they often look at politics as a solution to that economic problem. So that may have been felt firsthand by the youth's parents, but that trickles down to the youth's lifestyles. So that's why I think one primary reason why youth today care a bit more compared to youth previously. I think the other element is obviously social media and us having this discussion. Yeah, kids these days have a lot more access to information than they did before, and it's intertwined with entertainment. You're on Reels, you're on TikTok, you're on whatever lah, right? It's a mix of funny cat videos and politics.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Back in the day, it was a surat khabar, and there are sections for shit.
Yes.
Right. You flip the newspaper behind sports. You just read the football shit, and then you throw the paper.
And you read the cartoon, and you read the cartoon.
Yeah, it's that straightforward, right? Maybe the horoscope if you're into that shit.
Yes.
Yeah, but like the news portion, no. Right? As a kid, you wouldn't read it. So because it's intertwined in social media, I think that's another reason why youth probably are more aware compared to to last time. So overall, I think yes, they are probably a bit more equipped, a bit more curious, have a bit more knowledge. I do still agree with Boyge, they'll probably align their voting to their parents. That often doesn't change, I think. You are who you were brought up to be. There are a lot of environmental factors. People often don't change political opinions. So that's probably where they're headed towards, despite the fact that they know more than the previous generation did.
So they should be having a debate or discussion in the home itself about politics.
Yeah, I think that...
But that's quite taboo.
That one quite
right?
next level lah.
Yes.
You know, I mean, talking about what's for dinner also get me in trouble. What about politics, right? Yeah, so issue bahaya.
I think the debate, the political debate in the household probably won't go very far.
Correct.
Because it's an echo chamber. We all believe in the same thing, right? And then we all high-five each other and tell each other we're right. What needs to happen, I think, is more education in schools.
Or more Yamcha sections.
Or more Yamcha sessions, that might help. That's our fault, not anyone else's. But when I say education in schools, it's more around debate. It's not about what each party's political agenda is. That's not what this is about. It should be about to teach kids how to argue constructively, or to have a debate with each other, and to be okay to be wrong, and to be okay to change their mind. That, I think, needs to be instilled in education systems. If you were to reflect this in the US has a super strong debate culture. Right? They learn philosophy at a very young age, and that teaches them how to come up with logical arguments. And that helps tremendously with debate. You don't see that here in our education system, so people don't know how to debate. If the teacher says you're wrong, that means you're wrong, right? There's no room for argument. That needs to change. And when the debating culture, that logical, structured thinking comes into play, then I think that can translate into politics a lot better. People can have a debate. Is abortion good or bad? There's no right and wrong answer. Yeah, but you can state your points and be willing to change your mind.
But all kinds of debates like this, or maybe a forum or dialogues, is it happening among the elites in Malaysia, but not among the other category people like middle class or B40? So that's why they are growing, is it? Or they are trying to manipulate the political forum of Malaysia?
I think the elites have a stronger capability to debate, mostly because they have greater exposure to the outside world. They've been educated abroad. They understand these things and they bring it back home. So they are more equipped in that sense. Do they use it to their advantage, politically speaking? I'm sure to some extent, whether consciously or subconsciously. And that does give them an edge. So, short answer, I do think so, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So, I guess, okay, from your perspective, how does Malaysia's education system, you think, compare to countries like Singapore or like our neighboring countries like Indonesia or Thailand? So, how do you think it compares to the countries around our neighboring countries? Yeah.
Wow. I'm not so sure about other countries, but I've always known that our education system is great, simply because the things that we teach at Standard 1 and the things that other countries are being taught are completely different. And that our Standard 1 is like what, Standard 4, Standard 5 in the UK or US.
Really? So good, huh?
Yeah. I'm not sure, maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always heard that our educations are so good, but it's just that we fail to capitalize on that because of politics. You know, it's like it's good, but at the same time, it's not so good, you know. But like even at Standard 1, you are taught to do numbers, you're taught how to remember numbers, 1 times 1, 1 times 1 and everything at Standard 1, you know. Bro, it's insane. So I believe, but I've not been exposed in the Singaporean education nor Indonesian. I've literally not seen them before, so I can't really give you guys a valid points. But I've gone through the system. I've gone through when there was SPM and PMI. I don't know why it's no longer there, by the way.
Who knows, man?
I feel like it need to become. You need to put some stress in students. Like I need to study to pass. Means I cannot pass. You know, now it's just down. But
Yeah, going to that point, do you think it prepares the youth to become more of a leader, or is this just too much of a exam base for our system?
I don't know. Like previously, when I was doing my education, so just speaking from experience, like then maybe I can go through what we need to do. Like my main goal was just to pass or get A so that I do not get scolding from my parents.
I think we all do the same thing.
Pretty straightforward.
You know, pretty straightforward. But and at a young age, maybe there are, but you just don't really think of being a leader at that point. Maybe the leader of your classroom gang, then yes, of course. But then you go to step the forms, form 3, form 4, form 5. That's where you start to get more exposure into like what I want to be, because that's where you get to think better. And then when you go college, of course, that's where you shape what you want to do for countries, you know. So speaking from young age, maybe not, you know. But our education is great. When we had UPSR, we were, of course, in a very bad way, I was forced to study because I just don't really like to study. I mean, who likes to study? Of course, there are some people who like to study, of course. But it really helped me a lot. Like, you know, I get to speak fluent English. I get to speak fluent Bahasa Melayu. You know, I think my mathematics is okay. You still can count 1 + 1 is 3. You know, I move on. That was just a joke, by the way. If you guys, you know, some people say, hey, this salah, it was a joke, bro.
Too fast,
Yeah, 1 + 1 is 2. I know, okay? But our education is great, and you get to see like people. What do you think, Drew? I think.
I think on the first question, how we compare to our neighboring countries, I don't have a lot of context about the likes of Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia. But Singapore is very famously known to have a solid education system. They are ranked top 10 in every bloody metric you can think of, okay, right? Sure. So education is definitely one of them. I think one of the biggest differences between our education system and Singapore's is our country is massive relative to Singapore. You have, from a national perspective, you have Klang Valley folks who are educated very well, and you have everyone else who doesn't have it very well. Of course, Johor, Penang, Ipoh may be slightly better, but the East Coast is bad. So that's mostly because of the scale of our country. Now, in Singapore, it's a city-state. Now, what this means is there is no state government and federal government. It's a city-state. It's one government. There is consistency in that. You don't have the likes of, you know, Kelantan, Terengganu differing very vastly compared to Klang Valley folks. Yeah, so that consistency helps. It reduces margin for error. So I think that's one component. I think the other component also, unfortunately, goes back to economics. Poige hinted at it earlier. Our teachers are underpaid. They have no incentive to do a good job. Neither were they educated enough to do a good job in the first place. It's a cyclical problem. But it starts with paying them well. And that incurs cost. So it's just better distribution of funds. And I think in the short term, as of this recording, we're, I don't know, mid-September, we're cutting back fuel subsidies very soon. That should help reduce the deficit, hopefully funnel that back to our educational budget, which goes back to paying teachers, not anything else.
Understand.
So I think the quality of teachers is another component that's very, very different from Singapore. Singaporean teachers get paid really well, especially government schools. It's not to be looked at like as low class, which is how Malaysians, whether we like it or not, view our government teachers. We look at them, you're like, low key, low key, like you fail in life kind of thing. That should be, that's the biggest insult to the country ever. To look at a teacher and look at that and look down at them. Yeah, so I think that's another very, very big difference. So yeah, I think that's the two major gaps I think between us and Singapore. Overall, I feel from a curriculum perspective, it goes back to what children need to learn. And I think the choices we've made are probably right for your STEM subjects, but wrong for others. So you have we studied civic dan kewarganegaraan. Benda tu, bro. That one basically teaches you how to be a human being, right? And so the premise here is, if I sit down and I have a conversation with you about how to be a human being, you can be a human being. Does that mean if I talk to a dog and I tell him how to be a human being, he can be a human being? Fuck off, right? It's not going to work. So all of this redundancies need to be removed and to be injected with more valuable curriculum, one that aligns with the job market eventually, which I think ties into your other question. Are children, our youth today educated enough to be leaders in the future?
And also the nation's production.
Correct. Short answer is no. They aren't. It doesn't tally. So that needs to align. And that may come in the form of not having the division of art stream and science stream. Maybe it should have a technical stream, right? You literally be an electrician, be specialized in being an engineer at the age of 13, right? Make that decision early and then cultivate people that way to align with the job market, align with what your 10-year national budget looks like. So all of that, I think the curriculum needs to be adjusted slightly. But of course, the STEM subjects need to stay lah. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's...
What is art stream? I forgot lah.
Those who takes like history,
Accounts or economy asas, pengajian perniagaan.
Yes, like lukisan kejutaraan. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I guess science student, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please remove EST. Alright, EST is the cause of why a lot of people can't get straight A's.
I'm guessing that happened to you.
Yes, remove that subject. We don't need EST. Okay, SST is okay, but EST.
But there are years that there were easy questions, right? If I'm
Really?
not mistaken, yeah.
Bro, my IST was easy, but I still didn't get A. What's going on? Is my English wrong? You got to think about it.
Too easy, so the bell curve went more aggressive.
Could be also.
And then do not put PJK right after perhimpunan because we will never get to play PJK after perhimpunan. Please, we want to play football.
Okay, I have a question to MC Black. Okay. I believe you hold a master's
Yeah, I
degree,
do,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So how does that education shape your career, your mindset, and leadership qualities? And do you think formal education is enough, or exposure is much more important than anything else?
Ooh, that's a 4-in-1 bomb question. Okay, let me try to go one by one. Okay, so how did it shape me?
Yes.
Shape me to think better. All right, so like because now that when I do any decisions, I see in the business perspective. So like the masters that I studied is from Tunku Abdul Rahman University College. It's now called TAR UMT. All right, so I'm not sure whether this masters has the same type of what do you call it, teaching schedule. I can't put a word on it lah, but I'm not sure if that is the same with other unis. All right, so in my masters, what they taught me is they taught me as an adult. Okay, so they don't look at us as students; they look at us as adults. All right, so the way they teach us is as adults. Instead of just asking us to do homework, whatever, we go inside the class and we debate. The teacher will give questions and everything, then we will talk. And then if we are wrong and everything, then we will talk why and everything. So that's how they taught. So then, of course, we learn some accounts and everything. And from there, it teaches us to see whether it is business profitable just from seeing a sheet of paper, the profit and loss and everything. And from there, it taught me how to do business. You know, so like for myself, I work as a whole. I'm my own, and I'm an entrepreneur lah. Fancy name, but actually coolie to yourself. CEO, Chief Everything Officer. All right. So that's where you need to make your everyday life is a business decision. Because if you don't do correctly, you're going to lose. You probably won't have money. You know. So what my masters taught me is how to look into life and try to make the best out of it. In thinking perspective, right? The education wise, the exam and everything, that is just memorization. Well, of course, you got to memorize things as well in life, you know. So it taught me how to make business decisions better, and it also taught me how to say no and how to negotiate to make more money. Yeah. So these are the things what they taught me. All right. It's not like they taught you like this is how you need to think. It's that they put you in a situation where you need to think that way, or else you cannot pass lah. Essentially, you know. So they force you to think that way, and then eventually. From 12 students, we drop, and then the one that stays, the one that probably can think better lah. Because in the end, you have to do your thesis. You know, you just need to have like insane amount of brain cells for that. So it taught me how to do business better, and I think essentially that's about it. You know, whether or not you need the paper or not is another question. You know, some can say yes, some can say no. I say it depends on what you want. Yeah, so that's one question answered.
The one is
Gotta
formal
make it. I need to make Reader's Digest. Okay,
the other
next.
one, formal education or exposure. Which one is more important?
Both.
Okay.
You need to have both, combine it as one and use it together. Yeah, if you just don't have formal education and then you have exposure, you'll probably be like some streamers who just do nonsense, I guess. I don't know.
without any content,
You
yeah.
sort of need some education and then you use that exposure with the education that you have, and then you can probably go better, further than where you could potentially end up. Lah. So I would say you need to have both, and you try to see how you can incorporate that, use that middle circle, and then you can go further. Yeah.
Okay. So one last question for both of you.
Wow.
Okay. If you could reform the education in our country, what would be your number one reform that you would want to do? Andrew?
Number one reform
Yes.
from an educational perspective.
What I want to change. Wait, what do you want to change?
Alamak, you-
Kena pusing ni.
It's still my podcast, right? It's still our podcast, right?
You're
If you
interviewing
ask me-
podcasters.
If you ask me, I would like to implement agriculture into our education system in the basic itself. Like from primary school itself, we'll try to make our students engage towards agriculture.
Why agriculture?
Okay, for example, you see, a lot of people will be talking about AI and also computer and a lot of things. But let me explain to you all. Do you know right now what is the business Bill Gates has ventures into?
Bill Gates?
Probably going to say agriculture.
Yeah.
Yes, he's into farming and agriculture. When we asked him why and not software building or into another AI building system, but you know what he answered? When you secure the core needs of your people, eventually the sustainable of the country will last longer. So that's why in Chinese culture, in basically like Indians, they will say, if you never study properly, you're going to jaga kambing,
It's like everybody lah.
jaga lembu like that. Certain things, concept I'm saying.
Got it.
But in Chinese, they in beginning itself, culture, they advise you that if education is not one of the scope to make money, yes, agriculture is one of the scope to make money. So we need our SK students to understand this in basic, in foundation itself, like primary school itself. They will have a better opportunity in agriculture.
I got a question. So that it's that way because the country is stronger. That's why they can do that. And maybe because we as a country, we still haven't fixed our loopholes, and that's why we can't afford to go into agriculture. What do you think?
Actually, no. When one of our Prime Minister, Tun Dr. Pala, right? Tun Pala, our Badawi,
Oh, yes.
Okay.
RIP.
he came out with his agriculture program. The country was not ready to accept it. The government was ready to implement it, and people and also even their own party people call him as a backwards thinking man. And the government need to drop the policies at that time of point. We fail to understand the countries which export food, they are the best economical power country of the world. Whereby if you don't compare with Singapore is a trade country where a lot of issues makes the country rich. We can say black money, we can say investment of a lot of billionaires to make at least their hiding pot of the Asia for black money and a lot of things.
I believe in Thailand is doing this already. Agriculture is very strong and very important for them right
got
now.
no say like this.
Because I think even they for their paddy, right? Now they have it for 1 year, 2 seasons. Because before this it was only 2 years, 3 seasons.
Wow.
Yes,
High
you
efficiency.
cannot make it 2 seasons in a year.
Right.
It's very hard because of the benih, because of the seed. So now they have make it very hybrid because of all the R&Ds and they started young. So yeah, they've made it. If I'm not mistaken, 1 year, 2 seasons. Yeah. And so their production has doubled.
Yeah.
Rice production.
I tak tahu lah. Ni soalan like AdMaths question 4B lah. 50 marks. No, if you don't answer, you fail. This is quite difficult.
I think maybe it's just okay. Maybe we're going too deep into this. It's just,
But I like it. I like it, bro. It's great.
At the top of your head right now, like what do you think that we could reform for our education system in Malaysia.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say teach all three main language.
Understand? To everyone, yeah?
Yes, like why is it only English Bahasa? Why not make English Bahasa, Chinese Tamil? Of course, because the child is gonna not suffer lah, but it's gonna be a difficult time lah, you know. But maybe teach all the language immediately. That could be the thing that's the only one thing that came into my mind lah. Like if you, because the kids are it's easy to teach the kids when they are young. You know, your brain has just so much capabilities of absorbing stuff. You don't need to teach like perfect English, Chinese or Tamil or enough to have a conversation or understand. Then I think you can solve a lot of issue as you grow up.
Correct.
You know,
Not so much of misunderstandings.
I mean, you can solve a lot of things. You know, if you understand the language, you cannot say kenapa you tak hire orang. You cannot speak Chinese. Yeah, I can. You can speak a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, if like I think I'm flying way beyond from kids to adults, but if we break the language barrier, then what else is the barrier? Jang, you know. So maybe make us learn the language. Then maybe there won't be any SJKT or SJKC and anything. Just SK all the way.
Just
But
S.
Just S.
Just
Sekolah. Yes,
Then we will put a full stop to politicians
Yeah, would
to
you-
make their
Yeah, so teach the language. Give good teachers. Don't make the Chinese class or all the extra class after school. Make it during school. Like Pendidikan moral. What a joke. Do we really need Pendidikan moral? Because in the end, I just memorized that 48 nilais, which I only memorized 3 by the way, and I still passed. So what's going on? I should have said that, right? Either way, like
Way back when
I don't even understand what is the reason of Pendidikan moral, to teach us some nilai, but we have been learning nilais throughout our life.
Yeah.
Remove that, put some actual lessons, give us good teachers, make us want to learn it. I think things will be better, but that is just in the top of mind based on your question. Thank you.
I think so. I agree with the agriculture point. A lot of upside. I agree with the language point also. The way I view it, this is more from a business perspective, right? From an educational perspective today, we have 2 problems. The first problem is the percentage of children who get an education. So that's the quantitative side, right? Where we don't have enough coverage. You have, let's call it 20% of children who are not educated at all. This includes, by the way, you have refugees coming in who are children nonetheless. They are completely innocent. Still, we all live on the same planet, right? So you have 20% of the people in Malaysia who just don't have an education. That I'm giving a random percentage, but we have a coverage problem. So we need to fix that coverage problem. That's, I think, the most important bit. This obviously targets your less developed states within the country. We need to make sure we need to think about the user journey from A to Z. You have a child in Ulu, Terengganu, Pahang, wherever, right? How do you get them to the nearest school?
Sampan.
Yeah, right. Is it a sampan? Can you build a bridge literally down to that detail, right? To make sure that the percentage of children who get an education is at a high level. Let's call it at least 95% above. So I think that's the first problem you need to solve. Then comes the second bucket, which is more a quality of education perspective. Once you get the coverage up, the primary objective is solved. Now you can look at quality. Then I guess now the question is a bit more philosophical, like what is a good education?
Yes.
I think one component is paying teachers well. I think the other component is the curriculum that you teach. All in, I think the quality bit, sure, we're all up for debate, right? Whether we want agriculture, teach all languages, you want to study philosophy, focus on debate as a whole subject, remove civic dan kewarganegaraan, right? Whatever lah. Okay, that one, no right, no wrong. But I think the quantity portion, no one can argue with. Every child deserves an education. So we need to figure out which pockets of society within Malaysia have no education and how do we fix that. So we need to go on the ground and figure it out. Do we need to build a bridge or take a sampan? Which one is it?
Or swim.
Or build a school there lah, right? What the hell?
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
It's going to be you.
Oh, it's me?
He's coming.
Ah.
So again, Andrew has more exposure in also studying in overseas, am I right, Andrew? So can you tell us what is the difference between overseas education system and Malaysian education system? And also, may I know more details about overseas politicians? If I'm not mistaken, Andrew studied in United States,
Yes,
am I right?
that's correct.
So can I know American statements mindset and Malaysian statements mindset? So what is the difference on that?
I think going abroad to study and what you learn overseas is not groundbreaking shit. You can Google it. It's pretty much the same thing. You can download the same books I read there. So I think the nature of the knowledge that's being taught is not too different. There are some differences, but not too different. The biggest learning, I think, is you living on your own in a country where you have nobody. That teaches you a thing or two. It teaches you how to survive. You learn how to cope with your own loneliness and your own challenges, and hopefully you overcome them and become a better person at the end. So that's the type of shit that you learn mostly. But I think from strictly from an educational perspective, one topic I like to talk about is this subject called philosophy. Now, it sounds like it's a religion. It's really not. It is just how do you debate logically. That is immensely helpful. You can take that and you can go to business. You can think logically there. You can take that and go into a professional field and apply it there. So I think learning philosophy, highly recommended. Just pick a book, whichever, that teaches you how to structure arguments correctly, applicable throughout your whole life. So I think that's one very key difference studying overseas versus here. I was just never taught that. I think from a political perspective in the US, because they have this debate culture, it's very interesting to see your left-wing folks and your right-wing folks, your Democrats and your Republicans, them arguing about their differing perspectives. Again, there is no right, no wrong. Like I mentioned earlier, is abortion right or wrong? No. Is the right to bear arms right or wrong? Depends on who you ask. So there are all these divisions. And America is such a mature country that they've hit a point where it's very, very clearly 1 or 0, blue or red. In Malaysia, it's so fluid still, right? You have no single party that can win a majority of votes. That's why there is a coalition. You have coalitions happening everywhere, right? Because no one has, we haven't as a society matured to a point where our thoughts are more unified. We're still all over the place, divided by race, by religion, by whatever. So I think the one big difference is in the US, they're so mature that it's really just one or the other now.
Damn, bro.
So I think that really opens up your perspective. And they are also amazing at debating. Now, I know a lot of content on, Reels or whatever depicts Americans as idiots. A lot of them are, that's true. But some of them are truly fucking brilliant people. Yeah, so when you see them debate, it really opens your eyes on how little you know. Then that's just a very eye-opening moment. So coupled with the need to survive, coupled with a bit better curriculum, coupled with this level of exposure, I think it's a very, very enriching experience to study overseas. Of course, it's a privilege to do so.
Andrew, advices for me, Andrew. I would like to adventure to politics in Malaysia, Andrew. So will this podcast be a platform for me to gain knowledge and also make this podcast as a platform for debate and venture into politics? So do you think currently this podcast platform is very helpful for politicians, for new generation politicians like me?
So if your question is, does this podcast help you to be a politician? I am inclined to say yes. Is it the best way to get into politics? Different question. The answer is probably no. I think, yes, it helps in that to get into politics, it requires popularity, general popularity, as well as knowing the right people at the right times. I think having a podcast, like I mentioned earlier, gives you the excuse of meeting new people. So yes, I'm sure it will help. You will cross paths with people who have connections to someone who may get you through the door. Is it the best way? Probably not. The best way is you were born under your Razak family, and you went to you went to the right schools, you met all the right people, you lived in the same house. That's the bloody best way lah. But hey, you and I don't have choice, so let's do it. Your surname not Razak, right? Okay lah, that's it.
No, right now what I'm trying to understand here is, you see, for example, we will shouting unity in streets, we will be shouting unity in reels, Facebook and things. But what I'm trying to prove is by setting up a forum. See, right now I think I succeeded for a forum which all three races of Malaysia is here in a podcast. And I seen that many times in Yamcha. So I think this kind of forums and also Yamcha sections or even Dialogue National section, I'm also promoting my channel as well. So it's giving us more exposure and learning system. But most of this forum is being utilized by ex-politicians or current politicians to come out and set up an idea of their political stance.
Sure.
So that's the problem. We general people who like to venture into politics, which a forum of ideas, can't make it through.
Yep.
I have go through a lot of hurdles right now. So even some words which when we telecast, it need to be removed. We get calls and things.
Yep.
Really? Like
So-
what? But you can't say that it's get removed. Okay, don't answer the question.
So do you think our Malaysian media system is fair enough, and also our Malaysian entertainment industry is allowing us to get what we really need?
I think politicians coming into forums like this, whether former or current politicians, and pushing their own agenda, human beings are selfish. You can't stop that. I think the Malaysian media, is it fair to all of us? No. Is social media fair? Yes. I think to some degree, yes. Definitely more than traditional media. You obviously you've heard news of even social media platforms adjusting their algorithm depending on their selfish needs, right? If they have investors who are of a certain political agenda, they skew the algo. But it's more fair. So and you got to play the cards you're dealt. So these are the cards we have. Yeah, we do the best we can.
But what you can do is just do it, brother. You know?
Okay, bro. I will take your advices.
Just do it. Not promoting Nike, by the way. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, I would like to ask if you could send one message to Malaysian youth who wants to make an impact in politics or society nowadays, what would it be? DJ,
yeah.
MC Black.
MC
Everything
Black,
is the same like this
MC
point.
Black.
Okay. Sorry, what's the question again? If I can send a message to the youth who wants to make a difference in politics.
or society.
Or
So what would
society.
it be, yeah.
Read more. I think we don't read a lot. We listen. We just listen what we know, what people say, but we don't read.
Just one last question. Who will be the next politicians if you all would like to place a podcast with them? Means who will be the guest?
I'm trying to get Anthony Loke, but he's not replying my emails. Yeah, and I really want to ask why after spending so much money, the thing break down next day.
This is the KLIA.
Yeah, that's a
road trip.
really great question. Like, what's up? You know, and see, things like this makes us lose faith. You know?
I think this will be cut as well because you just state a minister's name.
Oh, I can't say minister's name. I thought that the only things you can't say in
Don't say it,
Yeah.
because then it's a problem.
okay.
no, you really can't say this, man. Really?
He's doing all the edit, whatever needs to be edited will be called to him, so he knows. Yeah.
I didn't know we can't say that.
No, we are just cowboy town. So we
Like
say,
we just say it, bro.
Yeah.
We just say as it is. We ain't no fear. You know, but sorry, bro. Maybe you cut that lah. You cut that, but you keep the rest, like, no?
No,
Oh, you stick.
We can choose.
Okay.
Maybe we can make it a reel or something.
That's true.
But it's a real question. Why? You know?
Yeah.
What's up, bro? You spend so much money, and people like, yeah. Then the next day it's a breakdown. Like, oh.
Andrew will be.
We tried getting. I think the Boye tried getting Najib on the line.
Bro,
love to, man.
I really got it, bro. I did an event. He was there before he.
I know the story.
Oh, okay.
Can I explain the
This
story?
guy knows me more than I know me.
He went to the event. He's supposed to get the interview the next day. But bad luck, the next day he was arrested.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, it was a dinner event. It was okay. Actually, that event was quite funny because Najib, aka Bosku, was already convicted of everything, but he's still roaming around.
Yes.
So he was the VIP in my dinner event. I'm like, wow, Najib, cool. And then when he had a grand marching and was standing and clapping, bro. It's like that. I'm like, what's going on? He was like a celebrity at that point, you know. Everyone was like, that guy was trying to eat. He couldn't eat. People just want to take picture with him, bro. You know. And then we were giving out items, and then he was signing the items as an auction to sell, bro. 40K, 50K, 60K people bidding shit like that, bro. It's hilarious. And then I went to his burger like, bang. I nak cakap dengan Najib boleh tak? He's like, apa you nak buat? Podcast lah. Then Najib was sitting in front of me. He's like, boleh? Can talk to you in the next coming week? I'm like, yes. The next day he went jail.
Damn bad luck.
But then you can still arrange some meetings with
In
him,
jail?
right? Not in jail, but maybe in the facilities of the jail.
I don't know about that lah.
Oh, okay,
You'll be
okay,
going
right.
too far deeply.
Okay.
And saya tak tahu.
We wouldn't mind going to Sungai Buloh lah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
The exclusive.
How sick would that be, bro?
That'd be cool, but it's quite disappointing.
I can already imagine the thumbnail. Behind bars.
Okay. Thank you so much, MC Black and Mr. Andrew for joining us today.
No, thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure to be here,
we had
man.
fun.
Also, Miss Jonathan, please send our regards to Jonathan.
Oh, we will. Yeah,
So
I'm sure he'll watch
other
this.
crews of Yamcha section.
For sure.
And we would like to invite you all again whenever you all.
Oh, definitely,
Free
man.
next-
Yeah, we stay nearby.
Yeah,
So
stay nearby. It's tapa ni, it's no issue.
They are my homies, so I can call them anytime. Okay. Another thing was when we go through. Okay, this is even though I'm talking from my channel Dialogue National. Please, guys, watch Yamcha section. Yes, there may be some bad words and also
quite a lot
some
lah.
things.
Just saying.
But
You guys
listen to
very
me.
cool when you're
chill, bro, whatever.
But listen, every Yamcha section is a booklet of knowledge. Wow. Listen to me.
Holy.
So go through Yamcha sections podcast.
Super kind words, man.
And Yamcha
insane.
section followers, please support Dialogue.
100%.
Better.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we say is somewhat garbage, lah. But yeah, subscribe anyway.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah. Okay. That's all.